All right. Happy Sunday, everybody. Wherever you are around the world, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Um, yeah, I took a week off last week. Sorry, I had some stuff going on and just didn't really feel like posting anything as well. It's just things have been absolutely insane in the world, as everyone is fully aware of. Um, the one thing that I've found myself kind of dealing with is like controlling my anger or like how I feel about the things that are happening. And essentially, as individuals, maybe many can relate to this, maybe some don't, but it feels like we just feel kind of powerless. That whatever has been set in motion has been set in motion. And there's a level of hubris to those that are the puppeteers, um, in which they believe that they're going to fulfill whatever this madness is. So yeah, today just another rant. I'm still trying to find my legs with this. It's been fun though. I enjoy making these backgrounds. I don't know if you can see this here, but I feel like this kind of encapsulates everything that's kind of going on. It's pretty funny when you throw in to make it satirical after ChatGPT tells you I cannot make this image because it is offensive to so many people. I don't find this image to be offensive whatsoever. um, the Dow isn't at 50,000 anymore. We have been told that there will be no more releases pertaining to the Epstein files via Pam Bondi. We have all these redactions. We can discern and we can kind of, come to some conclusions on what we assume are the individuals that are involved, and many of us, that have been kind of tied into this for years, already know a lot of these names. Like John Podesta, and you think of Bill Gates and Richard. I don't know if Richard Branson was on there, but he's definitely one of these guys. Anyway, um, we're nowhere closer to getting to what I think the entire world wants. Well, I take that back because you had, I believe it was the Dutch. They arrested someone. The Prince Andrew stuff, which is pretty funny. The image of him like shitting bricks in the back of the car, like that is just so funny to me. I don't think he's going to survive. I think this guy is probably going to have an unfortunate flu or a circumstance that's going to unalive him in the near term. And then at the same time, we look at what's going on here in America, and we've seen nothing. Like there's literally nothing. No one's being held accountable. There was the dog and pony show with Les Wexner, with him being questioned in his own residence, and that infamous clip. Now I think a lot of people have seen where he alludes to Epstein having involvement working with the Rothschilds. That's a conspiracy theory, right? Like we've been talking about that for 20, 30 years. And everyone that's ever mentioned it has been called a kook or a maniac. But that clip where his attorney, and I think, I forget his, maybe Michael Levi, I may have that wrong, but when he whispers in his ear and doesn't realize that the mic is sensitive enough to hear, he's basically telling him, I'll effing kill you. If you say anything beyond 5 words, go ahead and answer. And I paraphrase that, but that's insane. And then, Wexner, Les Wexner, having that like very nervous, terrified, laughter. Uh, and then that brief moment of silence and panic is just pretty nuts. And then yet with all of that, we're still no closer to getting these guys, cuffs clinked on wrists, taken in front of a court, being the subject in front of their peers, and tried and convicted. And I dare say capital punishment should be the ultimate consequence there, but nothing, and we're being constantly gaslit that the economy is doing so great. Maybe it is doing great for those that are wealthy, that have a lot of money invested in the stock market right now, or large corporations that are just constantly cutting jobs left and right. I mean, we had, I think it was in January, was that announcement of like 16,000 at Amazon. It was a really large layoff announcement for UPS, and then multiple other companies. And then we're living in this like world now where America used to be the manufacturing base of the world through World War II and into the 60s and 70s. And then once we started going past Nixon, thanks to Mr. Kissinger and many others, Brzezinski, there's this move to, offshore our manufacturing base to China. And so what does that leave us? We're still the most powerful country, arguably, at present in the world. But what do we create? We make nothing really like tangible, right? We have AI, but what is AI reminiscent of? Right? AI is reminiscent of the dot-com bubble. I personally feel that it's a bubble. I might be wrong, and I'm curious to see what anyone has to say about that. What your thoughts might be there, but this kind of where we are. Like I feel like we live in an illusionary economic stability that at any moment, if they just kick the three-legged stool like from under us, like we're hanging, like it's not good. And then you take from that domestic problems. As far as economic, we also have just growing hatred towards each other as Americans, right? We obviously have the false paradigm of the left and the L's and the left, right, D's and R's and all that bullshit. It's all bullshit to me. I used to be hardcore Republican, growing up in the South. I was a staunch conservative, and then 2008, say what you will, but Ron Paul totally like woke me up and in a way kind of like unlocked my heart from like having hatred. I can't explain it in a good way. But like I just kind of like my perspective changed. Like not everything's like so black and white and so dark. And like we're all in this together as Americans. Like we are all in this together. We are all here trying to make what we will with our lives. Some of us struggle more than others. We have family and friends that are hurting. You may be hurting. I may be hurting. And then our friends are trying to help us. And we're just getting to that point where from a, economic perspective, it feels like that ability to assist those that you love and care for is getting harder and harder. Not talking about an emotional support or like being there for your friends, taking them out, go for a hike or whatever, and like being there for your friends or your family and talking through things. I mean, from like the perspective of like the cousin that lost his job, got laid off, and has a 2-year-old and has a new one on the way, and is unable to afford it anymore because he lost his insurance, but his wife is 7 months pregnant. And what is he going to do? How is he going to afford, the birth of his child? Does he go to his family? Does he go to his friends? Are they able to help? Can they help? And when they help, do they do it from the bottom of their heart? Or is there an expectation of like, I'm loaning this money to you and you are to pay me back? And that's fair, obviously. But, I just feel like we're becoming detached from humanity, like what makes us good. Like what makes us like our compassion, our care for one another. We've been divided so fucking effectively in this country, so effectively. But I also see some light at the end of the tunnel. I do see that after the 2024 election, obviously that election was able to bring a lot of different people together, center right, center left, the independents. Many people came together to get this current administration into power. And we all had expectations that we had all these campaign promises. We're all going to get a little slice of something we're looking for. We all compromised, right? There was this beautiful moment where we all kind of compromised all the smaller things that truly, they might be larger to some than others, but, at the end of the day, like it's a survival thing. We want to make sure we can put food on the table for our families. We want to make sure eggs aren't $13, or, milk is $10. Or bread, you want to buy a loaf of like processed bread for $10. Like we don't want that. Like all these little nickels and dimes that have been hitting us have been hurting us so tremendously. So we had this hope, and then we thought we're going to get cleaner food. We thought we're going to get health, and like with health comes mental clarity, and none of that happened. If anything, as we just saw this past week, Trump signs an executive order for glyphosates to be banned. This is something that Alex Jones, who I used to be just such a tremendous fan of, I mean, the man woke me up, and I owe so much to him in my earlier years of when I was starting to read about these things. And he kind of like was a good reference for me where I'd go listen to him and he mentions certain topics and I go research those topics and be like, holy shit, this guy knows. He knows a lot. He speaks a lot of truth. But, you know, he spoke against Monsanto tremendously, you know, and then California, the state of California, with their HRs, they were doing everything they could to keep the state clean for food. But, you know, love or hate California, but I'm just speaking of this particular subject matter. But they did, they worked against that, you know, and, you know, Monsanto rebranded. I forget who they were purchased by or how they were rebranded. But here you go again, 2026, glyphosates and immunity to the manufacturers and corporations of it. And then walking back, artificial food dyes. Like, what are we fucking doing? It's blackpilling. You try not to be, but like, you know, I want to say it's blackpilling, but it's definitely disheartening, you know, and it could be blackpilling to those that are just feeling doom and gloom. And in some ways I do, you know, it's like it comes in waves for me personally. It ebbs and flows. I feel good some days. I feel encouraged. And then other days, you know, it seems like everything's hitting the fan. And this is just where we are as Americans. And it also really sucks when you think of it from like internally, we got all this crap going on. And then you view it from the perspective of like the world and like how they view us, right? Obviously, we're not viewed favorably simply with what's going on in Israel and Gaza and now the West Bank. You know, and then the big bellwether for me is Tucker's interview that was just released regarding, you know, with Mike Huckabee. Man, what a sobering moment, you know, or a couple hours that was, you know, because then you really see like proper questioning and then redirect answers, right? Like no clear answer provided by Huckabee. And Tucker does the Tucker thing. You know, he instigates and he pokes and prods and he tries to piss people off. He does, and I love him for it. I think it's extremely entertaining, and I think that's ultimately what he's trying to strive for, as well as getting some form of truth or perception out there. But the comments like an X, man. It's like it's getting so much worse where people are defending the indefensible and doubling and tripling and quadrupling down on indefensible positions. Like saying pedophilia is not bad, or, you know, R-ing a 15-year-old girl is not pedophilia. Okay. You're a maniac. Like this is an underage person still in development. You know, we develop until we're 25, I believe. I think that's when your brain achieves full development, and then it's just downhill from there. Decay begins, right, at 25. Slow but sure decay. But it's just disheartening. It's terrible to see, and I just wish people can like decouple from the concept of like I have to be loyal to this individual, or I have to be loyal to this party. Like, why can't we be loyal to our country? I think we can all agree on certain things, right? Like, I think we can all agree on forms of immigration. Like, people that came here 30, 40 years ago, they went through a process, you know, a majority of them did, and they paid for it, you know, literally. And I think we can agree. I hope we can agree on that. I hope we can agree on sensible immigration. Like that's a problem too. And I don't see it getting any better. I mean, like, yeah, they've basically diffused the situation in Minneapolis, and man, it was absolutely wrong. Like, Trump administration like really fucked that whole thing up, man. I mean, to the point where they have to essentially withdraw it with a massive L there, and it was disgusting how they were treating people. The ICE agents, and if you follow me on X or you follow me here, if you end up being a follower, this is my opinion. You are entitled to yours, and I'm willing to debate you on it or like hear what you have to say. But like, this is how I feel. It felt gross, you know, like from a spiritual level, it felt really gross. And although I want it, the manner in which it's being conducted feels wrong. And I don't know how I can explain that better. I mean, I first and foremost, I care about my nation more than anything else. You know, disregard the thick eyebrows and the black hair and black beard, but this is where I was born. I was born here to two U.S. citizens that came here through the process in the early '70s, who raised me to be completely American. I'm not very attached to my own ethnic culture, for better or for worse. I can partially speak the language, and I have historical inferences from reading and from what orally what my parents have taught me of the past. And I have pride in like that heritage, if you will. But first and foremost, I'm an American. And what I'm seeing now, what's transpiring with the Iranian diaspora, is just troubling to me. It really bothers me a lot, because now I'm seeing comments on X where everyone's generalizing all the diaspora are POSs, monarchists, and etc. And look, dude, like that's not true. I'm not a monarchist. My family, although my parents were here from when they were in my mom in her teens and my father a little older. I think he was 20. He came here on a soccer scholarship, but like I was never like that. It was never ingratiated in me that I have to be like loyal to the monarchy. Never. I was raised to be, hey, go with John's family to this Baptist church. Hey, go with Francine to the non-denominational. And then I grew up with a bunch of Catholic friends, and like my parents kind of just let me find my own faith and find my own way. But a majority of Iranians, I have to say, in America, from my perspective, I'm so nervous talking about these people because they get so mad and they're violent, and they're hurting people and they're insulting people, and like they're from the fucking outside. They're sitting here in Sweden or France, US, Australia, and demanding death and blood of like supposedly their own people, like their own ethnic people. Like they want death and blood to change things. Then go fucking fight yourself, you son of a bitch. I'm sick of these people. They really piss me off. I try to stay calm about it, but it really makes me so upset. It's like another major problem. It's a compounding issue over issue. And now we're on the cusp of this war with Iran that a lot of people are so fucking ignorant to. It'll be completed in 5 to 6 days. That they will go hit the multi-thousand designated targets they have and blow everything to hell. But then what does that do for the people that Trump promised to help? You're going to blow up their infrastructure? Okay. How are they going to survive? How are you going to open up sanctions? How long does it take for an economy to recover? I don't have the answer to that. But it's just all bullshit. It's all lies. And then these monarchists are just like calling for blood. And not to mention, they're showing loyalty to a little tiny country the size of New Jersey, which is very bizarre to me. If they're such monarchists, wasn't Mohammed Reza Pahlavi, wasn't he a devout Muslim? Didn't he go pray at Mecca? Didn't he do a 60 Minutes interview warning the world of how powerful the lobby is and to not underestimate them? But then they want to go and become partners with the tiny little country that has done so much evil in this world. And I don't care what that means. I have nothing against the people of that nation, but the actions of governments are representative of the people. And I'm ashamed of the actions that our country takes here and there and often throughout time since I've been cognizant of this stuff. And I don't know what the conclusion of all this will be outside of more chaos and more death and more destruction. Iran has always been kind of, from like the era, forever, over 2,500 years, has been an intermediary for trade. All trade from Europe to the Far East, Asia, has gone through Iran. And so that's all this is you destabilize that nation. Now you control the hub of trade in sorts. It's not really there quite as much as it used to be, but you destabilize, at least from a regional, continental perspective. You destabilize China, Russia, and I have no love for any. Like, I'm impartial, honestly. I'm just impartial. Like, why do we fucking care so much about these other countries? China doesn't have the budget to do shit to us militarily. I mean, they're crushing us economically, and if they start selling off bonds, we're in deep shit. So it's just this delicate dance on the edge of a blade. on the edge of a knife. And, like as all Americans, we have the sword of Damocles hanging over all of our heads based on the actions of the people that govern us. And I don't feel like we're going in the right direction. I really hope this war doesn't happen. I think it's going to be tremendously worse than people expect. It could be 6 days. But what's going to happen with oil, with energy? Do you think that's just going to keep flowing? Let's assume that the US does completely take out Iran. You think they're not going to get one missile off? And where are they going to hit? Where are they going to hit? The Gulf states? Where's all the oil? Where are the refineries? Where are the pumps? Exactly. It's going to be bad, and people always seem to fail to realize when you have higher energy costs, everything costs more. How do your groceries get from a distribution center? How do your groceries get from a farm to a distribution center, and from the distribution center to your select grocery? Energy. And if energy goes up and the cost to transport goods goes up, do you think your food price will go up more? And how's the dollar doing? Is it doing great? I don't think it is. First term for Trump. I mean, I saw the greatest financial growth personally in my life I've ever seen. I didn't think of it as possible. After 8 years of Obama, I thought I was stuck at this shit salary, no upward mobility, and then there was an optimism. 2015 came around. There's this freaking optimism. People were pumped. They're like, we're about to make money. And it happened to a large degree for those that worked hard and pursued it. I would say it worked really well. And then I look at now. I factor in, the pandemic, obviously coming, it started with, Mr. Trump, President Trump, and, warp speed, and the lockdowns didn't start with Biden, guys. Don't forget that. Don't have short-term memory loss. But look at the economy now. I mean, sure, it was that pandemic crashed everything. It was global. But, house prices are unaffordable. I don't know if my family will ever be able to own a home. I won't pay, where I live, $750,000 for a 1970 split level that has had zero renovations in it. It's going to require another $200,000-$300,000 to get it, up to speed, up to code, even with electrical code. You don't have inspectors going to every one of these residential houses and checking if the house is up to electrical code. And if you want to scale your home, if you, for whatever reason, there's a lot of work that goes into it. I'm not going to fucking do it. And I'm in my 30s, and there's probably many in their 30s and just an insane amount in their 20s that the idea of home ownership is just gone. And property taxes and the fear of that too. It's like, I don't know. Something's got to change. Like, we need to get good people into positions that care about Americans. Going to war with Iran is not caring about Americans. It's not. I don't care what you say. I don't care how you justify it. Show me definitive, substantive fact as to why going to war with Iran has tangible, true value and benefit for the everyday American. Show me. And I'm so open to change my mind. I've changed my mind 1,000 times in the last 10 years because I'm not a static thinker that majority of people seem to be, which is fucking pathetic in my opinion. I'm sorry, it is. You're just like, it's like so tribalistic. People need to get out of this mindset. We are literally dealing with things that are, I mean, I try to keep religion out of what I talk about. I try, but it's spiritual, guys. It is. It has to do with, good and evil. It's true. It's real. You want to go save Iranians, but you want to blow them up. How is that good? You're going to go kill people to save people? Tell me how that makes sense. And why do we fucking care? We got our own problems in our own nation we have to solve. We have to solve them. Or we're going to be in deep trouble. We're already in trouble, in my opinion. The amount of hatred here is terrible. We got to fix our economy. We need to get healthy. We got to stop. I'm glad to see that. I think it was like alcohol consumption is like the lowest it's been in like X amount of years. I don't know, multi-decade, right? It's been like, that's good. People are finding hopefully they're not finding other, illicit substances to offset the need to drink. That doesn't help either. But yeah, people are broke. People are hurting. People are angry. People are divided. And I feel like people are getting, the whole carrot on the stick treatment in multi-directional ways. Like, oh, this is your philosophy. Here's this carrot that's going to keep you enraged and you're going to follow. And here's this carrot that's going to keep you enraged and you're going to follow. Then we're all getting spread apart. There's like the center is being destroyed. And it's the center, the centralism in that sense of like, you could be extremely conservative. Like you can be, pro-life, which I am. But you can also say, that person's never going to agree on this. What can I talk to this person across the aisle from me that we can find some common ground on and work on that? And then you build everything together on the things we agree to. And then you can move into the problematic areas and not from a place of hatred and anger and tribalism and, Yankees versus Mets bullshit. And then go Yankees, of course, always. But we can't do this anymore, guys. Like the writing is on the wall. There's an inevitability to this type of behavior and thought pattern, and it's historical. Okay. So I'll leave y'all with that. Again, still, just to reiterate, I'm still trying to find my feet here. I kind of been using this as just like video diaries, just kind of expressing my thoughts through the week of what I've witnessed and what we're all witnessing and my perspective on it. I wish everybody well. I have no hate in my heart for anyone. I really don't. Even the demons out there, we're not supposed to hate. We can't hate. You can rebuke them. You can rebuke their actions, and you can disagree, and you can distance yourself from. But like, don't fall into the weapon that is hatred. It's a weapon. It's a weapon used against you, and they trap you and enthrall you in hatred with the sole objective of creating greater division. So get rid of the hatred in your heart. Try to think of things maybe over the next week where you could say, like a thought exercise, like I'm Republican and I disagree with the left on these 7 things. And then think about one of those 7 things where you could say, can I compromise on this item? And then answer yourself, what can I compromise to? Just like, a mental elasticity exercise. Just think about things from a different perspective. It's healthy. It's not bad. You're not going to be a liberal. You're not becoming a liberal for thinking that way. You're being an intelligent fucking human being, which you are. And you should be proud of that. You have a gift. You have free will. You have thought. You have discernment. You have the ability to think about things critically. And beyond the surface, do it. Use it. It's there for you. It was given to you. So use it. It's good. So anyway, appreciate all you, the few and the many that will listen. Maybe in the future, this episode will be something people go back to when they go look at the older content. But I speak with love for all. And, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like, comment if you can, please. Please follow me at X. It'll be down in the description below. Please follow me on Upscrolled. I'll have that in the description below. And I'll start. I just want to get a little more traction before I start dealing with Rumble. We all have busy lives, and it's just I can cut out this time right now for this, which I'm grateful for and I'm happy to do. It's been enjoyable for me, and I hope you enjoy this content as well. And hopefully I'll get to see you guys next Sunday and get some feedback. And would like to, if there's any discussion, I'd be happy to have it. So with that, thank you all, and I wish you all well, and have a great rest of your Sunday, and have a blessed week. Thanks. Bye.